How you doing?
I am amazing. You
Yes,
know,
I
this is my
am too.
favorite time of the week is
Yes,
Arise and Shine.
I know that.
Yes.
Me too. Me too. I'm really excited about today. We got bad English, but you know what? You get
Mhm,
me. We got
mhm.
a fabulous couple this morning, this
Yes.
afternoon, wherever you are in the world. You are going to
Mhm.
enjoy the show today because I'll tell you what, nothing inspires me more than two people coming together and doing what they're supposed to be doing, walking in their
Yes.
purpose, but on top of that, supporting each other's game.
Mhm.
That just motivates me so much. So,
Yeah.
how do you feel about the guests we have today?
Well, you know, anything that deals with relationship, destiny, purpose, I am always on board for that. And just, the action in the green room was enough for me to I'm just in expectation because you could feel the synergy between the two of them. So I'm excited.
I
I know
know.
it's going to be an amazing show for sure.
It is. It really is. I want to let you guys know the powerhouses that we have in the house. I'm just going to give you a little snippet because let me tell you, their bios.
Mhm.
Ooh, and they're not even done. They're just getting started. Okay. You would
Right.
think one of them was 65 and the other one was 67 with what they have listed.
Yeah.
Dr. Robert Evans, excuse me, the third
Hmm.
is a culturally competent psychologist. We don't have him go into that. What
Yeah.
does that mean, right? Is he in touch with the culture of today? Is where I think he's going with that. He's a licensed clinical professional
Mhm.
counselor. So he has all his papers in order, right?
All the
And
letters behind his name.
yes,
Yes.
like several letters behind his name.
Yes.
And he is a master addiction counselor, which,
Mm,
much respect for that.
yeah.
My sister is in that line of work in a
Mhm.
nonprofit in Maryland. And, that's some hard work. It's
Yeah.
really hard work. Now, he has over 2 decades of experience and a passion for helping individuals and families recognize their thoughts and behavior and what's keeping them
Mm,
back.
yes.
He hopes when situations seem hopeless that he can bring about some positive results that make people sit back and say, whoa.
Mm,
He is an author and a CEO of Empowerment Counseling and Training Services and has a private practice and consulting company.
yeah.
So who knows what we're going to hear from this masterful man? I'm ready
Yeah.
because he's also pretty funny.
Mhm.
So I'm ready. Something's always coming out his mouth. So, I'm sure life coach Vaughn, his beautiful wife. I mean,
Yes,
she's
she is
beautiful.
beautiful.
But
Inside
besides,
out.
yes, right?
Yeah.
Besides her beauty, she is super passionate about
Mm,
mentoring and
mm,
life coaching. She's been doing it for over 15 years now.
wow.
And her career spans over 20. And guess what? Benicia, I know you read the bio because I used to mess with the IT industry and the marketing
Mm-hmm.
side.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever they came up with all these fabulous tech packages, we had to make it look good and understand how it works. She is on the tech side of it. She's got so many certifications. So not only is she certifying her coaching business, but she's certified in the
Yeah.
IT industry and
Mm,
helping to transform lives. And she has her butterfly queens. That's what she calls her clients.
yeah.
And I want her to talk about what being fly means. And that's first
Mm,
loving yourself. So we have
mm-hmm.
we have conversation that can go in so many different directions today. So I
Yeah.
ask you to share this broadcast because these two powerful people, they're going to bring it. They're going to bring it. And Coach Benicia is going to ask all the right questions. So
Don't
go
put that
ahead.
pressure on me.
Yes, child. Go
But
ahead and hit the share button.
of course, we're going to
Mhm.
ask, right? We always come with a appetite of our own. We say that every week, right? So we want to be first partakers, and then we want to share everything that we're learning and we're gleaming from. And so I'm excited. You know, the Lord drops those questions because we want to know, and if we want to know, we know the people want to know. So
That's right.
I'm
That's
excited.
right. Let's get it going on. And
Let's get it
Brenda's
going.
in the room, so you know it's time to officially start because Brenda always shows up.
Hey, Brenda.
Good afternoon, Brenda. But here we go with Dr. E, as he's affectionately called, and life coach Vaughn. Welcome to Arise and Shine, you beautiful people.
Hey, good
Lord have mercy.
morning.
A lot of beauty on this screen. I don't know if I can handle it.
We just put a little ice in. Y'all already had it gleaming. I don't know about you, King, but I was in the background just smiling, so they already sweetened up the place. So
I need to hire her, man. She need to do
introductions.
My role intro.
Right.
You know how people have a theme music.
Yes.
Man,
yes.
I need to always get that introduction. I need that.
Well, just call. It's no problem. We're super excited to have y'all here. And I know, like, one of the first questions we want to ask you is, you know, how did you guys come about? How did this union? Because that's always the juicy story, you know?
Yes.
How did this happen? This magicness.
Life coach Vaughn tells it the best. She calls it a cosmic collision. You know, I like the way that sounds. You know, like two whole planets just crashed into each other.
Right.
You know, I think it was definitely the stars line up just right. You know, I always say things are all about timing. The right time, you know, things happen. So, you know, I don't know why the stars were lined up the way they were, but I can have some suspicion. You know, I have some suspicion, and we've been getting into manifestation and all of that kind of stuff. You know, law of attraction, and you know, I think it was just our time, you know, for us to meet, and you know, things just gradually grew from there. Do you have a condensed version, Vaughn? Your version is.
I'm gonna do the kind of condensed version because I just want to see what it is that he would say, because we always talk about from our perspective, right? How this all came to be. There are very few intersections, right? But we had mutual friends. He was going through some transitions in his life. I was coming out of transitions in my life, and we met at a mutual friend's birthday gathering. He came over, and this is the funny part, though, right? He came over and said, "Hey, I like your haircut." So of course I had this red mohawk, and it was high, and you know, doing my own thing, always in my own lane. And I was like, "Thank you." And he bought me a drink, and I was like, "Cool," right? And kept it moving. And he's like, "Are you good?" Of course, after a period of time, I didn't know you were, you know, interested in inkling, you know. I have a haircut. I mean, a lot of guys used to talk about how I get my haircut. I don't take that as you're somewhat interested, right? It's like, thanks.
Right.
So that's how it ended up coming together. One of my friends kind of accosted him a little bit. And we later on laughed about it. And that's how we end up connecting. Still not moving forward on anything, just really getting to kind of know each other genuinely, right? With no specific intentions in mind. So that's how we met.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is, you know, and I always say people are in the middle, are in the process of transitioning. You're transitioning out of something, you're transitioning into something. But the circumstances at the time when we met were so that I was not in a place where I wanted to initiate or start any new relationship. So, you know, she was just, you know, it's kind of like if you see if in person, like how many times do you see like a giraffe at the mall? You know what I mean? Like if you at the mall and you like at the Smoothie King and a giraffe walk by,
All heads.
You're gonna be like, what a giraffe? You're gonna like want to go over and like, can I pet you? You know,
Is this for real?
Is this real? It was kind of like one of those things because she had like she's already got she's what do you know
like
5
five and a half, almost 5.
she got she's but when you put like 17-inch heels on,
Not 17 inches.
Right. So extra, like 5.
she looked like, and she had the red mohawk. She was tall. She looked like a giraffe. I had to say something. And so from there, but the point is, because we were not at a place, or at least I wasn't at a place where I wanted to really initiate starting something. It was purely when we did start to communicate, it was sheerly just communication. So we just get to know each other.
Right.
So without any intention. So it was like more than a month before we even heard each other's voice because we were communicating through Messenger.
Oh, okay.
So it was just a lot of back and forth communication and writing first before we even heard each other.
Wow.
There was a real slow motion in the beginning of foundation being built of just learning each other. And then important questions started to come up about who you are very early on, right? So, you know, it was to me the beautiful part of it was by the time we got to a point of even a hug, there was so much energy there that was already built up because we were already learning each other and learning different things. You get a hug, and then that's big, right? Then you move from a hug to a kiss. You know what I mean? Like the gradual progression of things was really, really important. Whereas, you know, me being in private practice and I work with a lot of people who are single and dating and trying to figure out, and the first thing they do, first night, first week, they in the sack.
Right.
Come on, tell the truth.
That's true.
It's
everything's so fast.
It's so true. Yeah.
I just connected with you on a dating site. I swept left or right or whatever it is, and a week later we had a date. We dated. I'm like, you don't know if this, you don't have a clue. Like, I want to know a little bit about who you are before.
Come on. Right.
So
that part.
You know, it was really, really a lot of building just who you are, you know. And for me, I was previously married and I was separated at the time. So my divorce wasn't final, but I had learned so much from my process that I understood that because I didn't think I was going to even find anything anytime soon. Wow. Because of my criteria of what I needed, where I needed the person to be.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you saying you as a man had a list? Like you had a list?
Oh, my list was very short.
We never talk about the guys' list. We always getting beat up on for the women. Like we have these lists.
No, I encourage the ladies that I work with to have a list. I want you to have it.
Okay.
My wife, she had a list. I ain't kidding about her list. You have your list. Right. But people rarely have the list that I want you to have. I want you to have a list of the things that you jacked up. What's your jacked up list?
Yes.
I want the good list. You know, so that's why my criteria is pretty short because my questions are extremely loaded. If you can answer my questions, it tells me everything I need to know about you. So, you know.
Wow. Yes.
Pleasures of being married to a psychologist.
I was just going to say, go ahead, Bob, because I see the smoke coming out the hoop earrings. I see it. How is it? Talk to me.
It's true. He absolutely did because, you know, like you said, women come with the, hey, this is what I want in a man. And they know what they bring to the table. But where we oftentimes miss the mark is we don't address and are aware and are working on our shortcomings, right?
Right.
So before, when he asked me that question, because he said, "Hey, tell me." So me, I was born in South Carolina, but I spent most of my life in Baltimore. I'm a Baltimore girl. It's just what it is, right? And so with me, and also being a Leo, part of that is there as well. So I'm like, well, I cook, I clean. I can drop it like it's hot. I can take you to church. I can speak to your mother. I can teach your kid. So I'm listing all these things. And he's like, yeah. He's like,
Yeah,
that's
that's
cool.
good. Yeah.
He's like, that's good. Praise the Lord, all that stuff, right? And he's like, so what's wrong with you? I said, it is hard to tame me. It is going to be a challenge to tame me. I know I shut down. I know I have some attitude issues. I know. So because I was able to list those things, and then his next question was, and what are you doing to work on them? And I was able to respond with those things as well. And that's what shocked him. That's what got him all like, oh, okay, all right. Not only is she aware, but she's doing things to actually work on them.
Yes,
absolutely.
And I believe again, that's where that was a very pivotal moment in our relationship. And I didn't realize it until he told me later on. But to your point, Tanya, you talked about it earlier about being fly. That was a part of my first loving yourself process.
Yeah.
Self-awareness, understanding who you are is key before you get into any type of relationship.
Yes,
Absolutely.
That is not only a romantic relationship, but it's
That's
with
right.
your friends and your family. Oftentimes these things don't work because we keep changing up who we are
That's
to
right.
satisfy others
Yeah,
because
the
we're not
mask.
sure what it is that we want.
Yes.
So how
So
can I
good.
truly be happy in a relationship if I don't know I like it like this? Oh, baby, touch it here. Oh no, you can't talk to me like that, right?
Right.
How can we have those type of discussions? So
That is so real.
If she had answered either one of them wrong, it was a
It would have been a wrap.
That's a lot of pressure. Lord of mercy, Benicia. That's a lot of pressure.
But I agree. I think we live in a society, and we talked about it. Everything is so fast paced, right? And there's a lot of unhealthy people. Especially I can definitely relate, Dr. E, from when you've been divorced. Divorce is hard. They say that it's worse than a death, and I've been through it. And if you go through it and you really want to come out whole and healed, you're going to ask those type of questions.
yes.
And so I agree with you as well, Coach Vaughn. As I think in our singleness, a lot of times we haven't been taught the importance of becoming whole while you're single.
Yes.
A lot of people are so concerned about attaching themselves to someone that they haven't even did the work. And that's what I love about this conversation is that he understood the work was necessary and you were doing the work. And so I appreciate that because I think this platform, there's a lot of individuals that are in that space. And it's good, amongst women, we talk about things like this a lot, but it's so powerful, I think, when it comes from a man to say, hey, you can be cute. That's good. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can flip it, rub it down. That's cute. But guess what? We need substance.
Yes.
And substance only
Exactly right.
comes from spending time, not only healing, but really seeking God, because you have to know the vision.
Absolutely.
How do I know this person is going to align with the destiny, the collision, like you said, that came about? So I commend you both for doing the work and wanting something deeper for yourselves first, and then the relationship was just an addition to that.
Absolutely.
The kind of relationship you want. For me, I didn't want a relationship full of frustration, full of heartache, full of pain.
Yeah.
You're going to have some effort that you have to put into any relationship. Any relationship, two different people going to come together, and you're going to have to learn how to speak each other's language. You're going to have to learn how to relate to each other, all of that. So there's effort there, but there's two different types of work, right? There's one kind of work where it's like you're trying to squeeze a square into a circle.
Yeah.
And that type of work is backbreaking work, because certain things are not going to change, and you're going to constantly be, you're going to be in anguish.
Yes,
And
that's the
people
word for it. Yeah.
people will be in that kind of relationship, right? And they'll force that. And if you're
Yes.
forcing it, I don't want that. Right.
Yeah.
So, but I do know that there's other kinds of work where if you have two circles and you're putting them together, there's still effort, right? But it ain't the same.
It's not the
Not
same
not
grind.
anguish. That's
Yeah,
right.
no,
And
it's not the same grind at all. I
one
think
of the things
too. Go ahead. Go ahead.
last point, real quick. One of the things that
Yeah.
you were talking about, Benicia, what I call is a codependency trap, right? It's a codependency trap. I'm gonna write about this. This is the next thing I'm gonna be writing about in my relationship book. It's one of the traps is when you have holes when you're not whole, right? When you come to a relationship, and a lot of times two people come to a relationship, and when they're not whole, that means they have things that they still need to fix, things that are broken.
Yeah.
Now someone has the ability to fill in that crack. They have the ability to fill in that crack for you or mend that for you. And what that becomes is now it's a codependency trap, because now you're relying on somebody else to
That's right.
be the fixer. You're relying on them to be the glue. That's where you complete me because you do this for me. But when you stop doing that, now I feel less than. Now I'm back broken. Now I can't function the same. So now if we have to separate, we can't separate because I still need to be with you who is toxic, who is not supportive, who is hurting me, abusing me.
Right.
I gotta
Right.
be with you because you fix me when I need to be already fixed when I come to you.
That's so good.
That's so good. And I mean, it's a perfect segue into the power behind first love yourself. You know, I mean, to me, because I lost myself in a relationship and I became, like you said, part of that thing. And if that thing wasn't working, then I wasn't working. But if you first love yourself, then you come to the table with something. You know, you're a whole being. And that's why I love that. Life coach Vaughn, please talk about first love yourself.
She looked frozen.
Is she frozen?
I think she is.
Uh-oh. She'll come back.
So can I ask a question,
Can
Dr.
y'all hear
P?
me now?
Oh, okay. She's
There
back.
she
Okay.
is.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I was just sending a message. I'm having connection issues. I don't know what happened.
That's okay.
Can y'all hear me now?
We can.
Yes.
You're a little blurry for me.
Okay.
Yeah, the visual's changing, but we can hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it completely went out that whole entire time. I apologize.
So
That's
Tanya, I
okay.
You
think you
asked me a
need to ask
question?
your question. Yeah, I asked the question.
I was just saying that was the perfect segue into first love yourself, into fly, because you know you come to the table whole, which I think is what you want to teach people, is that you know getting lost in a relationship is very real for a lot of us. You know, I did that myself and validated myself by validating our relationship, which was a hot toxic mess. So therefore, so was I, right? So if you first love yourself, you don't, you know, you may backstep every now and then, but if you're in the right circle of people, it doesn't last very long. But you need to fortify yourself with the right circle and the right principles and values.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Queen Benicia, what I did not mention earlier is that I was previously married as well.
Okay.
I went through a divorce and had three beautiful daughters from that marriage. And when I had met Robert, I had already been officially divorced for 2 years, but separated for 4. So again, to your point, I had that experience and I had to look back in retrospect and say, you know what? Why was it acceptable that you would even put yourself in a situation that way?
Yes,
It was
ma'am.
because I ultimately didn't first love myself.
Yeah.
Oftentimes when we go through situations, we like to kind of place blame and kind of push it towards other people.
That's right.
But the
That's
first
right.
place for you to start is to start with yourself.
That's right.
And that's what I did. And when you start with yourself, you take away the victim, you gain back the power.
Yes.
You take the power out of somebody else's hand and say, I ultimately had some choices and controls of some situations, and I didn't make the best decisions.
Yes.
So now let's figure out why.
Mhm.
Let's figure out what actually happened, right?
Mhm.
And that's when I was going through that process, and I came up with the fly concept, the first loving yourself concept. I had actually started a women's organization called Yana Fly. You're not alone, first loving yourself. And that was in the midst of my separation and divorce, one of the darkest times in my life. I was so confused. I lost everything. I literally walked away from everything because my peace meant more to me than anything.
Come on.
And
That's
I could
right.
not stand to see my daughters see me go through this toxic situation, right?
That's right.
So when I look back in retrospect and say, you know what, God, you called me to now minister to women, use my pain for my purpose. How do I give this message? And these 5 pillars of fly. The first one was self-awareness. And you get that by way of self-reflection.
So good.
I should know these
Ourselves,
pillars.
you know. Can y'all hear me?
Shiana, we can hear you now. You're frozen though.
Yeah.
But you was on a roll. We need these 5.
We need these 5.
we need these 5 things.
You might have to put them in the chat too.
Okay, so self-awareness.
Okay, so the 5 pillars of fly that I came up with is self-awareness, right? And the self-awareness, I also give them a subcategory. That's the identity stage. We need to identify who we are. And the only way you can get to self-awareness is by self-reflection, right? You do that by taking time to yourself, saying, what is my good? What is my bad? What is my strengths? What are my weaknesses, right? And that's how I was able to answer his question, because I had put all of these things down. The second one is self-forgiveness. We got to be able to forgive ourselves for some stuff.
Huge, yes.
It's so interesting. Sometimes we'll forgive others before we forgive ourselves.
That's true.
That's toxic, right?
Yeah.
And that self-forgiveness stage, that is the emptying stage. You got to purge, right? The third one is self-correction. That is your boundaries and limiting access. We got to create some boundaries. Even when he came to, once we realized what was going on and he told me what his situation was, I was like, skirt, I'm going to need you to, time out, and again, we had to get clear about what that was. I had to set boundaries for him, for my children, even for myself, right? As well as limiting access. For some reason, we think everybody's supposed to be up in our VIP section.
Oh,
do that in a club.
A minute on that, girlfriend. Yes, everybody is not entitled to all of you.
No. Think about it. Even clubs, right? You have general admission. If you're not dressed appropriately, if you do not meet the requirement, the age requirement, you can't even access my club. Then there is, standing room only. You can't even have a seat because you don't meet certain qualifications.
That's right.
Even beyond the VIP section, you don't let everybody in the back office. But for some reason, we do not treat our lives and our personal space the same, right? And when it comes to that boundaries, that is where the cleansing actually takes place, right? You're setting up parameters. Then the fourth one is self-love. Self-love is bigger than the self-care. Everybody can get their nails done, their hair did, everything did, but still be tormented in the inside. Self-love looks like developing self. It looks like going and investing in yourself, going back to school, getting a coach, getting a personal trainer, getting a therapist to help with this up here. It's a mindset thing, right? And then the fifth one is what I call the maintenance stage. You had said it earlier, Queen Tanya. You got to find yourself doing this thing over and over again. That's why I call it first loving yourself. It is a continuous journey.
Yes, it is.
We got to put steps in place, tools, tips, people, accountability to make sure we keep that 5-step cycle over and over again.
That was so good. I'm putting all of that in the feed. I need you to repeat number 5 for me because I don't want them to not have the last one.
It's the maintenance stage.
Maintenance. That's what it is.
Yep. It's maintenance.
So,
That's
Coach,
what it is.
Coach Vaughn, I have a question for you, and then I want to ask Dr. E. It's all along the same line. So, number 1, you just dropped that fire. What? I'm like, my pastor, he's like, drop that fire in the chat because that was hot. The question that I want to ask is, when you have done that work, so you're working on you know, you have embodied the fly concept. How did you learn how to trust and then open your heart up to even be able, when it was time to receive Dr. E? And the reason why I ask that is because, 1, I coach a lot of women. 2, I'm single. I have a lot of single friends. And that conversation comes up a lot because I think sometimes with those boundaries, they become like brick walls. So you're not letting anyone, mistreat you anymore. You do have a higher standard, but in the same token, you're struggling with, who do I allow in? When do I know it's potential, or when do I know it's someone who is also willing to do the work?
I love that. That is so good. And I love the analogy that you just gave, putting up a brick wall. I didn't put up a brick wall. I put up a door with a key lock. He had the key.
Yes.
That's good.
He had the key. See, it would have been a disservice for me to literally put up a brick wall because I believed even through going through my divorce and separation, and y'all, it was ugly. Y'all said y'all been through it, so it had gotten real ugly, right? I had to understand, because I believe in God so much, that I knew He had better plans for my life. I knew He had a king for me. And I would have been doing myself a disservice if I would have put up completely a brick wall. I had to entrust myself enough that I've done the work. I had to trust God enough for the spirit of discernment. And I had to ask. I literally, and it's funny because I tell people, go back to my Facebook page way before I even met him. I was praying for my husband. I was praying for my king publicly, saying, God, cover him, make it clear to me, right? So I had a relationship with God. So when he came along, there were some things that had to be done, but he had proven over and over, time and time again, that he got the deadbolt unlocked. And then I was like, no, you still can't come in, player, right? We went to the next section, and then I cracked the door open again. These things happened in stage, but he had to prove himself. I just didn't expose myself. And I also shared some of my hesitations. I didn't share them all. I think sometimes when we're in those stages, I think we share too much. And then that crook can use those things against us, right?
That's right.
Over and over. He was just so consistent. And the level of integrity, level of integrity that he had, even going through his situation. It's nice for people to tell you things, but when you can see it for yourself, those are the things that you take in. So that's why I had the chain on the door, looked through the door a little bit, and I was like, okay, we're gonna talk right here through this door for a while. And then slowly but surely, again, consistently over and over. And by far, thank God for my king, By far, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
I love that.
That
I
is
love
so
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you had
Yeah.
another question for Dr. E. I
I
wanted to ask him
did. You know,
something too. Go
we
for
have
it.
to make
Yes.
sure this is balanced. Okay.
Yes.
So
I got something stored up for you, Dr. E. Don't worry,
yes.
right after her.
So Dr. E, I want to ask you, especially with your background and men in general, but we're going to talk about African American men as well. So in your field of practice, do you find that there are a lot of men that are really in the place where they're working on themselves? And the reason why I ask that is because we come across so many men where we feel like, okay, we're going to therapy, we're recognizing these issues we have, we're coming to the table knowing that we're not perfect, but we meet a lot of resistance sometimes when it comes to men and going to get help or having those outlets. Do you find that, and if so, what is it that we can do as women to help our men know that we want to see them win, we want to see them healthy, but not come off like being their mothers or anything of that nature, but just trying to understand the struggle. Because for women it's so easy for us to come together and be vulnerable and things of that nature.
Great question. I did want to add something to the fly question.
Oh yes,
Before I get
please.
into that,
Yes.
because I think that's one of the things that we're going to have to work on as a couple, getting a message out to others is the I love the fly concept, the first love in yourself, but there's a second part to it. When you do partner up, it's flying together, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
can be so good at flying solo,
That's
but it's
good.
challenging when it's time to
That's
fly
true.
together. So there's
That's
steps
true.
to
That is huge.
That is
No,
huge.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
that is huge.
That's really big.
those
Yeah.
are things that we've had to work through as well. When you have two
Mm-hmm.
planets that function, got his own vegetation, his own atmosphere, his own everything. So
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
don't
I
need
can see that.
you.
Mm-hmm.
now, now we got to come together and work as a unified planet.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got
Yes.
to intermingle all of those things together now. And there's the
Mm-hmm.
effort that needs to be put into that. And so,
Yeah.
definitely want to ask. So that'll be another thing that's coming out is
Yes, sir. I just,
yeah,
if I have any say in the
Yeah.
production of products and things
Mm-hmm.
in yours, I'm feeling in my spirit there's a workbook and a workshop and
Mm-hmm.
some live
Sign,
bodies. And
sign us up.
hey,
no, I'm
you
working on the workbook right now for that.
all right now.
Yeah, it's
Okay. Yeah,
already in
that's
work.
some good stuff. Let me know. Send me the form. I'll fill it out.
Yes.
Mhm. Yes.
And so the question I'm asked is so many levels or layers to that question. It's like an
Mhm.
onion question. There's so many layers.
Yeah.
My man
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie would say it's an onion discussion, right? But you first answer to that is um, in general, I do see that more women are. And I actually was going to do a live. I just didn't have the energy. I believe that women live longer than men
Mhm.
for a specific reason because y'all rap about it. Y'all get it off your chest. You talk about it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
You release.
Mhm.
And men, especially black men, have a tendency to hold. We avulse, right? We hold it all in.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so in essence, we are literally holding on to all the negative energy, and you guys are more free to release it. And it's the messaging that's sent. It's the whole definition of what a man is. And one of my missions is to help to redefine manhood. I talk about that all the time. Men feel like
Mhm.
being a man means standing on your own 2 feet by
Mhm.
yourself, right? And
Mhm.
this message is always put out there in movies and music and this and that. I made it here all by myself. No, you didn't.
Right.
Nobody who ever did anything great did it by themselves. Even Jesus
Right.
had 12 disciples.
That's right. That's
Jesus had
true.
12 disciples and you made
Yeah.
it yourself? No, you
Right.
didn't. Right? But that's the thing that people hold on to. And when we redefine manhood and understand that no, it's okay to ask for help. That's a show of strength.
Mhm.
It's okay to cry. That's a show of strength. It's
Mhm.
okay to release your emotions. That's a show of strength. So, the answer is yes. I do see that in practice. That's something that I have to work through with men. Even I work with a lot of couples, You know,
Mhm.
I've taken on the name the relationship doctor, right? Because I work with
Mm.
a lot of couples, and I see that over and over again with men really struggling in that area of opening up with their woman. You know, not just in counseling, but also just with anybody. They want to hold it in, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I do see that, especially amongst African American men. Um, as far as the women, you know, what can they do to get their men to become more vulnerable and open up? I believe that there's a couple of things. One, you can lead by example, you know, and a lot of them do. A lot of them say, "All right, well, you're not going, I'm gonna go."
Mm.
You know, if you're not gonna work on yourself, you're not gonna love yourself, I'm gonna go. And I think it's a challenge with that because I believe by nature the man is supposed to take the lead on that, and the woman is like, "Hey, why am I the one taking the lead on this?" You know, it doesn't even feel natural to be the one to have to do that. But that's the thing that actually helps him because you going to the gym, you looking good in your clothes, and he's sitting there fat with his beer, and you like, "I see you later on. I'm going
Right.
to go my trainer, and we going to get it together."
Mhm.
Like, going to who? Right now, if he not questioning that and wanting to go to the gym, the problem may be a little bit more deep.
Mhm.
But you know, that's one thing you can do. Another
Mhm.
thing you can do is stop tolerating it.
Mm.
You know, the biggest thing that I've seen of the biggest most consistent answer to that question is do not tolerate it. Apply the consequence of not tolerating it. It's, hey,
Wow.
if you don't care about you and you see that I'm caring about you more than you are, there's going to
Mm.
come a point in time where I can no longer do that. And
Mm.
that is going to look like we can no longer be together. And when he
Mm.
sees that, oh, dang, I'm going to lose out, that pushes him in the direction to change. But it
Mm.
can't be I'm playing around. I'm just using this as, you know, I'm putting throwing out wolf tickets. No, you got to be serious and you got to follow through.
Mm.
And that's the
Mhm.
thing that makes change happen. But if you
Mm.
sit there and you are allowing it, he's going to keep doing it. The other thing is the expectation is that he has to do it. You can't do it for him.
Right.
Mm.
I have
That's
wives
good.
contact me. I want to get my husband into counseling. I say, have him call me.
Mm.
If he won't call me and you got to set up everything, I can't do it.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
like that. I
Um,
like that.
does that answer everything? It was a couple of things you had in there.
Yeah, you
Yes. No,
did.
you answered all of them.
I,
Great.
and I wanted
Mhm.
you to spend a minute because I love the title of your book project and the run to the pain
Mhm.
Mm.
intentionally. I wanted you to spend a minute on that because everybody does the opposite for the most part. Most
Yeah.
people, human nature is to run the other way,
Right.
right? But
Absolutely.
if we're serious about breaking those strongholds, right, and having healthy relationships and freeing ourselves, we have to run to the pain. But
Absolutely.
what made you want to write about that process? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Uh, well, I believe we all share the same purpose in life. You know, I believe our purpose is to become the best version of ourselves.
Mm.
And we do that through making mistakes. We do that through messing up. We do that through um, learning from the things that are difficult, and we become better. Our gifts come out, our talents come out, and we become
Yeah.
better. But the other side of that is we are supposed to help other people discover the same thing,
Mm.
and
That's good.
that's inherent in the purpose because we are all designed to connect.
Mm.
Mhm.
We're not designed to do this alone.
Mhm.
You know, we have too many senses for this to be something set up for us to do by ourselves.
Right.
Mhm.
We fit together like a puzzle,
Mm.
right? We
Hmm.
literally, our bodies fit together. We are supposed to do this together, not
Yeah.
alone, right? So, with that being said, I knew that once I discovered something about life, I had to write about it and get it out. I knew I had to get the message out. One of the things that I discovered was, you know, what year was that? Was that a few years ago, maybe 15? I did a Tough Mudder race. I'm not sure if you know what Tough Mudder is. It's like this 10K race.
Is that the one with the mud everywhere? It's like
mud pits.
A lot of obstacles.
All types of obstacles.
Yes.
You climbing, you lifting, you doing all this different crazy. I didn't want to do it. I pledged already. I didn't have nothing to prove. Some buddies of mine like, can we do it? I'm like, why do you even want to do that? But because they wanted to do it, I'm like, right, fine, I'll do it with you. So at the time, my wife and I we're dating, and she comes out. It's like 90 degrees outside. She supported me through this, had water, and she's on the sideline. She
Go,
says,
Coach Vine.
She peeping out the weak links like, yeah, dude is a weak link. I don't know about her, right? So she come over, he's such and such and such and such. I'm like, I'm just trying to get through this thing, right? But it was torturous. I get through the end of it. I made it through. Some people didn't make it through. I made it by the skin of my teeth. I'm staggering through the finish line. My legs are finished. I'm in pain. That night, she runs me a bath. I've been sitting in the water, and all I could think about, because I've been an athlete my whole life, right? And I've been through periods of time where I'm coming out of pain, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a week off, take a couple of weeks off. I'm gonna get my body back together. For some reason, I said I don't want to do that because I don't want this to take forever. I want to hurry up and get back to my feet. I don't want to suffer forever, right? I don't want to be in pain forever. So I said, I'm going to, no matter what, get up and at least walk the next day.
Come on. You don't know how applicable that is to me today.
That's
right.
I'm talking about, but the mental, and I talk about what it's going to take to do this, because the mental battle that whenever you say you're going to do something in your life, I don't care what it is.
Come on.
You are issuing a war against yourself.
Yes.
You are getting ready to go to war against you. Because that version of you that wants to stay comfortable, that wants to avoid pain, that wants to not have to deal with it, is going to talk you to death. Is going to say, why are you doing? Will you please can you just not? And you got to fight that.
Yes.
So I said, no matter what, next day, I'm going to get walking. So I get to the treadmill next day. I walk, ended up stretching real good as I could. But it was pain. I said, I got to do it again next day. Long story short, by the end of the week, I was back. By the end of the week, I'm back running full speed like I never left. And it was such an epiphany because it was like, wow, I just cut my healing in half. Recovery time, I crushed it, right? And I said, wait a minute. This process applies to every aspect of life.
Yes, Lord.
So good.
Lord, you've got to get up.
Yeah.
Hold up, man. How many people do I work with that, as long as they're avoiding the pain of losing someone, of a bad relationship, but they're avoiding, and they're still suffering. But as soon as they deal with it, they're able to start to heal.
Yes. Right? So good.
Every aspect, mental, emotional, psychological, relational, spiritual, as long as we are running away from the pain, it's going to take longer to heal. We got to run.
That's so true.
That is so good.
To the pain to heal. And we can't just take our time because we don't have time to waste. We can't. That's why I say run. We can't walk. We can't say, you know what, I guess I'll do it next week. Nah, we don't have time for that.
Head on. That's so powerful.
And guess what? During the pandemic, people are dropping like flies. This is when the numbers was like, I mean, they kept talking about the numbers, and it's go to show somebody's here today and they're gone next second. Not even
That's
tomorrow.
why I said we don't have the time. Even more so now, we don't have the time.
So we got to run to the pain of our life so that we can hurry up and heal.
Yes.
So that's what it's about.
That is so powerful. That is so powerful. And Coach, thank you, ma'am.
Put the plug in
Look,
for your
look,
husband.
y'all. She's still
right.
on the
You can get it
sideline
at
as the
empoweredtoday.net.
yes.
It's available on Amazon and
Girl,
all
I'm
major
putting a link in the
bookstores.
I'm putting a link in the chat.
Yes,
You know
Coach
I am.
Don. That's how you
Yes,
plug your husband.
empoweredtoday.net.
Yeah.
That's right.
You
That's
can
right.
Google it. It's gonna
Yeah.
come up. I promise you.
Yeah.
All
So
major
we,
bookstores, Barnes
it,
and Nobles, and all.
Yes.
I purposely made the book very short because our attention span nowadays is we already on iPhone 15. Oh, where's the
Right.
iPhone? We don't have no attention span. But
Mhm.
there's some nuggets in there about forgiveness because
Mm.
that's at the root of every trauma in your life has to do with either forgiving somebody else
Mm.
or forgiving yourself. In some
Yeah.
cases, forgiving God.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so I talk about how to do that in there. I talk about, motivation. I talk about,
Mm.
so many little things that are just life nuggets that have to do with running to emotional, mental, psychological, spiritual pain. And,
Mhm.
it's a good little read.
Mm. That is
Yeah,
awesome.
it
One
is awesome.
one thing that I love about you guys, I mean, we could put fire in the chat for what you guys said. Y'all explode like just exploding. I
Put
just
fire on
love
that.
it.
That's Kevin Hart.
I, I absolutely love it. And that just ties right into what I was going to ask. So, we felt the synergy between the two of you when we connected from the beginning. How important is it to have fun in a relationship? I'm sure, like you both stated, you both have kind of like your own worlds, the things that God has called you to do separately, and then, of course, the things that God has called you to do collectively, which could bring a lot of pressure, I'm sure, right? So you have to be a lot of things to everyone, but you still have to make sure you keep priority a priority, which is each other. So, how do you keep the love, the laughter established, continually in your relationship? Because you seem to have a lot of
Yeah,
fun
y'all are
together.
funny.
Hmm.
Um, well, what I would say is, I don't want to speak to that question and suggest that everybody
Hmm.
wants to have fun.
Right.
Some people
No,
just, some people just want to just,
Mm.
they just like,
exist.
yeah. And
Yeah.
and I learned that in management. I was worked in the government for 14
Mhm.
years, and I was in management for 9 years. And I had
Mhm.
to learn that not everybody wants to exceed expectations. Some people just want.
Right.
Some
That's
people.
so
Mm.
hard to digest.
It
It
is.
was
I
hard.
don't want to just get back. Mm-mm.
It was hard for me, but guess what? And that's something else I'm gonna
Mm.
write about. It's real quick. I believe that there's a tier system of life, right? There's
Mm.
a tier system of life, and I believe that any two people can be on different tiers, and you can make it work. In other words, you can force the square into the circle if you
Mm.
want to,
Yeah.
and it's going to just come with a level of frustration, right?
Yeah.
But if you
Mm.
get two people on the same tier,
Yes.
right?
Come
So
on.
So if you are somebody who you might just want to get by in life, you just want to meet expectations. That's all you want to do. Look, don't
Mm.
look. I don't want to do no extra. I don't want to do no bonus. I don't want no incentive. I
Mm.
don't want none of that.
Mm.
Just get my
Mm.
check and go. Right.
Mhm.
So I can
Mhm.
just sit
Jesus.
at home and I can just
Mhm.
relax. And then you have somebody who wants to be outstanding. I'm
Yes.
upset if I get a 99. I'm sick over the one. I'm like, hold up a minute. We have a meeting. I need to
Yeah.
know why I got a 99. That's too close to 100. You gave me a 99. I need to know, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Now, if you have somebody who's on a particular tier, they want to exceed
Mm.
expectations, and you're just happen to be with somebody who just wants to meet expectations. Now,
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with a person who wants to meet expectations.
Right. Nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with any of the tiers. Nothing
Mhm.
wrong.
Mhm.
You're just going to do better with somebody on your tier.
Right.
Mm.
Here's how it's going to look. Somebody who's meeting expectations when they come home, they relaxing, they chilling, they're not thinking about anything about future and all that stuff. It's too much to think about. My show is on. Let me just watch my show.
Mm.
That's it, right?
Mm.
the other person, they're grinding, they here, they there, they doing things, they making moves. It's going to be frustrating for both parties because
Yes.
the person who's sitting still, like, why don't you just sit down somewhere?
Yes. You're doing too much.
Yes.
You gotta be on another show. You on another show? You on another show? You got to do this. You got to do that. The other person's like, why don't you just get up? I can't stand you just sitting around all day. Why don't you do something? Right?
Yeah.
Constant frustration. But when you have two people on the same tier,
that's so good.
This goes together, right? Because all we thinking about is nothingness. We just want to just relax. That's it. We're not thinking about growth. We're not thinking about self-help. Self-help. No. I want to cheer. Right? You talking all these big words. You said self-help. That's a big word. I don't want to hear that.
Oh, that's so powerful.
Right? But you got somebody who wants to get more out of life. When they say self-help to the next person, it's like, oh, let me see that book. Oh, you held out. Oh, you holding out. That's a good book. I want to read this book together. Can we read together? Yay.
That's
right?
Powerful.
It is. It is. So you're saying two people on the same tier is powerful at any level. It's their thing.
It's their thing.
Their thing. Yeah.
So all that to say, your question, how do you keep the laugh and all that, is because we're both on the same tier.
That's so good.
I'm so excited.
That's so good.
I can't even tell you.
That just answered some questions for me. I can start. Look, for today.
I'm like, you. Yes.
You don't know where the answer gonna come from. You just got to be in expectation. But Coach Vaughn, I think you said it earlier, and it ties into exactly what Dr. E just said. That's why you have to take time to get to know you, right? And what tier you on. Because I have been there, and my friends used to laugh, and I thought, I was like, Lord, this is kind of a harsh analogy. I've never been materialistic, but this concept came to me a long time ago when I was really struggling. And some people can come and think that your standards is too high, but you wasn't there when my standards was low. And so, come on.
Right. Come on. So, where we send an offering to? Okay. I thought it was offering time.
Right. People want to put you in this, but you don't understand the level of growth and self-awareness and all those things that I had to go through to get to where I am. So now that I have this standard, you may not understand it, but me and Jesus do. And so Dr. E, when you said that, it made me think of this analogy he gave me a long time ago, and I thought it was just me. He's like, Benicia, if you want to be a Benz and this person wants to be a Pinto, it's going to be frustrating because in order to maintain a Benz, it comes with a lot of more work.
Yes.
The Pinto is the just getting by. And like you said, it's no shade to where everybody wants to be, because we all have a lot in life. When we get there, he's not going to ask me what Dr. E, Coach Vaughn, Tanya did. He's going to talk about Benicia. But I think what is so significant to what you both have shared is that, number one, it's so significant to know who you are, what tier you on, what God has called you to. And then, Dr. E, to your point, you have to ask yourself those hard questions. Do I want to be frustrated? Do I recognize this person is a square and I'm a circle? Or do I have the patience enough to wait on whatever the lot is that God has for me? And I have the ability to choose. I do. But I believe, and you guys, please jump in and tell me, the healthier you become, the better you can choose. Is that true?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's another thing that keeps people, I think, wanting to keep the life and the love and laughter in a situation is when you know you're with someone who is a whole planet. At any point in time, that planet is good.
Yes.
So it's all choice.
Yeah.
So we choosing to be together. So that means that, okay, at any point in time, if you want to do you and lunch out and do whatever you want to do, I'm good.
Right.
That's right. That's good.
See, but the smile that comes up when you say that on that other little box.
Yes, I love it.
That smile says, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm a planet. Right. You make me better.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
a smile of pride in
I
what
love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I told
You
him.
don't even it comes off of you like ricochets in a cartoon.
Come on.
Look,
So
what's
I
going to happen
just love it.
if Superman and Wonder Woman get together? What's going to happen? I mean, like,
On. Sorry.
look, I was on. I talk about this on the live on my IG. I was on the radio. What was it? WHR. The guy called in. We talking about relationships, and he's trashing relationships. Oh, you talking about codependency? Oh, you this and that, right? I'm never gonna be in a relationship. Blah blah blah.
Lord.
He's obviously in pain.
Right.
You've been hurt, bro.
Who
I
did
want
it?
to be single forever. You hurt, right?
You hurt.
He's like, you're advocating for. I said, listen, I don't have to be with my wife. I choose to be with my wife.
Right.
Now, if I believe if I'm Superman, I'm not supposed to be with Lois Lane. Who came up with this?
Where's
Lois
the cash
Lane?
at?
That's the worst writing. That's just supposed to just. If I'm
That's
Superman,
settling. That's settling, Dr. E.
I gotta worry about your human self.
I can't.
I can't worry about you. You're gonna get hit by a car and die.
I'm at a whole nother level.
I'm over here trying to save the world, and I gotta fly back, speed of a bullet to save you because you're about to fall off a cliff. No, I can't do that. Now,
She got her old life coach, she got a cape, so you don't got to worry about it.
Exactly. Come on.
look, when I get with the Amazonian, she for Olympics, she's shooting like one of them toothpicks through a Cheerio at 100 miles an hour on a horse.
Come on, Coach Bob. Yes.
What? That's the only person I can get with. I can't because now I know you're good.
Yes.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
so
Like,
good.
You're not
It's
wasting
so
my
good.
life force.
I know that's right. Wait a minute now. You got turned a corner. I know that's you ain't wasting my
That
life
is so
force.
good.
Because
Yeah,
I mean,
you gotta want it.
Sunday to Sunday, a lot of stuff has to happen, and you've got to come at it with 150%. Not you come with 25 and he come with 75, because then that's a hot mess, and somebody's gonna be dragging limbs at the end of the story. And you can't afford. And then you talk about building legacy and being culturally aware. You have little people, medium-sized people, almost grown people looking at how you are handling life.
Oh, yeah. They definitely all in it.
And there's no shade. Yes, there's
that
no
was-
shade being thrown, but the counselors, the therapists, us coaches, you know, what are you really living? What real are you really showing your kids?
That's true.
That was a big motivation for me as far as my my divorce. You know, we 2 beautiful children in the previous marriage, and it was hard to say, you know, I'm going to initiate breaking up a situation where I could see my kids every day. And one of the things that really helped me to make my decision was my kids, because I said I would stay for my kids. That's what everybody say. Oh, I'm staying for the kids.
Lord,
right?
don't do that.
Does more damage sometimes.
Let me tell you, these kids, one, handle life better than we do. They built. You drop them on the ground, they pop right up. Right?
That's true.
My daughter was 3 years old. We sitting there watching TV, and at the time, her mother and I had not talked about divorce or none of that. We had didn't argue in front of the kids, none of that. She said to me, "Daddy, when you and Mommy were married, y'all used to kiss. We're married, y'all. We still live in the same house. We still in the same building.
Wow.
Y'all were married. Y'all used to." She could see. This is not how a relationship is supposed to be. So that messed me up. I said, "Oh man, wow! I'm really literally teaching her what a relationship could be." And that could really tarnish her view of marriage. Like, why would I get married? I don't want to get. Or it could allow her to be in a situation like that.
Yes.
right.
And consider it normal. Yes.
I said, I'm not doing that.
Mhm.
Right. So now our kids get to see what it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
So now they can make an informed decision about whether or not
That's so good.
they want
Yeah.
to get involved with something awesome or not. Either you want to get in something awesome or not. It's up to
Mhm.
you.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think that's why it's so important throughout this whole podcast that you both have been talking about your healing journey separately, the healing journey, collectively, because we recognize, when I coach women, I coach from that same standpoint of you have to be healthy and whole so you can make a decision, not just for you, but for your children.
Yes.
So my
Yes.
motto was, if I've already experienced this very painful thing, I might experience something else, but I'm going to do my best that we're not going to repeat this, because you don't just choose for you choose for the children. So is this person, I tell women all the time, it's not as if he's just good for you, but I think about those conversations. If he had to speak to my son or my daughter, what would that be like? Do you agree with that, Coach Vaughn, Dr.
Oh,
E?
yeah, absolutely. Every decision that I've made, it also attached to my daughters. They're girls. Whether it was
Absolutely.
leaving, whether it was staying. I had one other serious, I would say, relationship after my marriage, before meeting my king. And it was a pretty okay situation, right? For the most part, it was a okay situation. But then I started, are you good boyfriend material, but are you husband material?
Come on. Yes,
Wait a
ma'am.
minute,
All
mom,
right.
you're not dealing with your children as much. How are you going to deal with mine? So I had to lay low.
That,
Some things got to change, and I need
that's
to
right.
see this change take place. And
Mm,
he could not understand. Like, wait a minute, I love you, I love you. Why can't this work? It cannot work because here are my expectations. I
mm,
need my daughters to be able to see this type of man. And not only do I need this type of man, but I
mhm.
need my daughters to be clear about what this looks like. And you
Absolutely.
currently do not possess it. So
Mm.
I holla.
I know that's right.
I,
Holla.
Yeah.
I
One of the
love
let
things
it.
it go. So
one of the things I talk about is how we as parents, we create an invisible ceiling for our children, right?
Mm,
And oftentimes we don't know the ceiling that we hit ourselves.
mm.
And we don't know the ceiling. Here we go. I don't know if y'all hear that binging, but my bad. But we don't understand why we keep ending up hitting our head when we get to a certain place in our career and our relationships, until we look back and say, oh wow, I'm repeating the same thing that my father did or my mother
That's
did.
right.
Wow. Yes.
And so we need to be aware of that, because when we are unable, it hits us a couple of ways. One, we create a ceiling and we make it hard for our kids, because our kids are seeing, okay, that's how you manage anger. That's how you manage toxic relationship. That's how you, right? And so it
Yeah.
makes it hard for them, but also it makes it hard for us to hold our kids accountable.
That's
We
good.
we don't hold them accountable because we now hold ourselves accountable.
Right.
Right.
That's true.
Do as I say, not as I
Not as
do.
I
Yes.
do. Yeah.
That was my biggest weapon when it came to being a parent. My oldest son, who's 22 now, I learned this at a young age, because he would have chewed me up and spit me out if
Mm,
I came less than 100%.
Mm.
mm,
So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna give you nothing less than 100%. I gotta
mm,
be who I want you to be always.
mm.
Yes. Yes.
So that way I can hold you accountable and tell you, no, you don't get an excuse. You got to do it like this. Guess what? Because that's what I do.
Right.
Right.
That's
Now,
good.
that's because somebody else on TV does. No, you see the blueprint. I need you to follow it.
That's right. That's right.
And it's
That's
also the concept of, you were talking about that earlier, Queen Benicia, just now, when it comes to making sure that we're whole, we're in a good place so that our children can follow suit. One of the things that I say, I can give my best when I have it to give.
That's
We got
right.
be able to make sure that we're good and we come correct. So in return, not only can you give it, but others can take advantage of it.
Right.
When they're hearing the concept fly, they think, oh, that's so selfish. You're only thinking about yourself. No, I'm prioritizing me so that I can be correct, so I can be good for
That's
others.
it's foundational.
Exactly. So my children can say, oh, mommy, she's making these moves. There was a point when I separated that I went back to school and I wanted to finish up my degree. And we were in school together.
Yes.
And I would come home and I would show them my A's and my 4.0 and
That's
my
right.
awards while they were in school, right? And the whole thing again, all right, y'all, I can't watch TV with y'all right now, but we all want to study together. These are the things that you have to become. You got to make sure you're pouring into you so you can, in return, show your kids, be that example for your kids. So that's that whole fly montage is all about first loving yourself. I can be my best, so then I can give it in return.
Yes,
that's right. Because you can't give what you don't have.
Just to add to that, when I work with couples and I have a 10-week premarital course, one of the first things we talk about is what is your hierarchy, right? Your hierarchy consists of your family, your children, yourself, your partner, God, if you believe in God. What's your hierarchy, right? And oftentimes people don't put themselves in the hierarchy, right? And so that's going to show up in your relationship, right? So if you're putting your children before you, if the hierarchy is out of order, it is going to show up. And if you both don't have the same hierarchy, that's a conflict. Because if you are putting let's say your spouse before your kids, and your spouse is putting the kids before you, conflict.
Oh, that's a hot mess right there.
You had to get on me. We're on the same page on that one.
Yes, there's resentment and all kind of stuff going on in that. Yes.
Clear.
9 times out of 10, I have to correct people because they may say God, but then they'll say their spouse or their kids, and they put themselves after. And I say, no, you right under God.
That's right.
You next, right? Because if you're not good for you, and it's something that came out of addictions, right? So I used to manage a floor in a 28-day residential program. Guys are in the 28 days of healing, trying to get themselves to get out on the street, and they will be itching to get out. I want to get out. I got a family out there. But you back and forth inside of treatment because you're not taking care of you. Are you caring about your family for real? Right? If you're in a rush to get out there and you're not ready, why don't you care about them to get you ready?
Yes.
Right? So it's the same concept throughout our life in any aspect of it. In order to be good for anybody else, you got to be good first.
That's so true. That's so true.
Look, y'all. Look, this is so good. It's so good. I know y'all have a hard stop, and like we can talk forever. Ever.
So good.
Ever.
So good. We gotta have a number two.
Yes, a part two
for sure.
A part two for sure. I just want to give you guys an opportunity. Here we go in the chat. Please have them back again.
And will. Yes, we will.
Yes, definitely. Yes, she was like, this is complete another level. And that's been the consensus. So we definitely want to have you guys back. Maybe we'll even do, a big power couple session. And can you imagine the roof being blown off the place with the power couples from this season? Lord of mercy. But I want to give y'all an opportunity on the way out the door. I put all your social media links in, and I have a couple more links for the books to put in. But I want to just have you guys on the screen share your heart before you leave. If you can leave a brother with a thought, if you can leave a queen, a king or a queen with a thought as you depart us today, what would that be? And then Benicia and I we'll join you back on the other side. All right.
Yes. Awesome,
you have at it.
Oh, thank you. Wow. King, you are so amazing. I love you. I appreciate
Oh man,
you.
I'm,
For
I'm
hanging out
just I'm the asparagus to your steak.
whatever. All right, so what we can do, I'll go first, then you go, and then we'll do a couple something. Okay, like something for a couple. Okay,
I'm with it. You know,
you
you
with
the
it? All right.
organizer. You the organizer.
All right, let's get it done. What I would love to say to a queen, it's the queens. It's something about them. They have a very special place in my heart. I think one of my favorite saying, not I think, one of my favorite sayings, you will never be able to physically do what you're not mentally prepared to do. You will never be able to physically accomplish what you're not mentally prepared to do. And I believe a lot of the things that we want to ultimately accomplish in life, we think it comes from external sources, but it really starts here. And we have to make a decision here first, and everything else will start to fall in place. Once you've made up your mind to move forward in life, in love, in relationships, in first loving yourself, watch how things really come together. I believe we're doing a lot of wavering up here. And if you have to seek the companionship, the partnership, the support, the encouragement of a life coach, of a therapist, of a counselor, of an accountability partner, do what it takes, but get it mentally right up here. To you, King.
Oh man, I can speak to the kings all day. I would say that, I want you to take a real good look at the messages that's been sent out there, especially to the Black community, from the Black community. The messaging that we as men are not men unless we do it all alone or by ourselves on our own 2 feet. That's not the definition of a man. That's not in our nature. That's against our nature. We are to do this together. We are to do this together, and it's courage in asking for help. That's not weakness. It's a courage in being honest and authentic with your emotions. That's not weakness. Also, the mis information that we're supposed to be out here with just abundance and just sleeping with any and everything, and that's stronger. That represents manhood more than monogamy and being with one person, right? I could go on how I believe that's against our nature. I don't believe that we are naturally designed that way. Real quick point to that. If we were naturally designed to just be out here spreading and what is it, sowing our royal oats, right? We're just out here just spreading. If we were naturally designed by nature, however you want to call it, evolution, God, whoever, if they designed us that way, why would we be at our weakest, absolute weakest point, physically, emotionally, everything, during an orgasm? At that point in our life, we are at the weakest. We cannot defend ourselves at that point. We are at the mercy of whoever we having sex with. So I don't believe we're naturally supposed to be just dying out like that, because we would just be getting just dying out. We're not built like that, right? So I can go all into that, but I just wanted to drop that on you. The last thing is, when it comes down to, and this is to those men who do want to do their thing with just being with their queen, and they trying to figure it out, and they have a misunderstanding of what leadership is. They believe as a man, they want to be respected. We all want to be respected. Respect is earned. It's not just given, right? And it's how you lead. It's leading by example. In every relationship, and I work with a lot of relationships, and everyone I've experienced, the man had the ability to change the whole trajectory of the relationship. He had the ability to change the outcome, right? So, I definitely want to encourage you to lead by example. And I'll lead it at that. I mean, don't expect things that you're not willing to give. And if you lead, your woman will follow. Um,
And he leads, y'all. He leads.
but it's how it looks, though. It don't look like, I don't tell my wife what to do. I don't say you're gonna do it like this.
Right.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. It's the difference between encouraging. You want your woman to have faith in you, A lot of them just have faith in me. Just have faith in me. They want their woman to follow them blind faith. No, you want your woman to trust you. It'd be nice to have both, but you want her to trust you. And trust is built. Trust is built through consistently making the right decisions, doing the right thing, and leading by example so she can see. And you take her with you on the journey so she can see the moves you're making, and you just not coming home like this is what it is. She got to be a part of the moves.
I love it.
So, yeah. Do you have something you want to say together?
That's it. The couples, hey, y'all, you got to learn intentionally and love over and over every single day. Every single day, you have to learn your partner and love them intentionally every day. That is.
I'll say throw out the concept of work, right? One of the things that I work with, a guy sat in my chair, he was a husband. He said, why is it so much work? I can't believe it's so much work. I don't want, I said, work. I said, tell me something that you enjoy doing. He said, bowling. I said, what do you do with bowling? He said, I practice. I got multiple different balls. I take notes. I record myself. I watch the video and take notes of the video. I said, why do you do that? He said, I want to be the best. I said, how much of that do you see as work? None of it. For somebody who doesn't like bowling, that sounds like a lot of work, right? Let's change the word work to effort. Anything that you love, that you want to be the best at, you're going to put effort into it. So decide if you want to be the best husband. Now, if you just want to meet expectations, get with a woman who just wants to meet expectations, and both of y'all can just meet expectations together.
All right.
Yes, this has been so good, y'all. So good. Made me want to go bowling just now.
We like bowling.
Right.
We love bowling. Yeah.
We're going to exceed the expectations.
Yes,
right? We come to win.
That's right.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Appreciate
this has
the
been
opportunity.
amazing.
Yes.
Yes,
Queens. Thank you all so much. And everyone who hung out with us today, they was chatting it up.
Yes,
Share.
Abigail and Eileen, and I mean, there was a whole bunch of folks in and out of the chat. Mm-hmm. So and our replay action is pretty good. So I know there's a few conferences going on today, so people are spread all over the place. Mm-hmm. So they'll be back through when they hear there's a power couple on and they find out who it is.
Absolutely.
replay.
I need to get more technically savvy so I can find out how to take snippets of like this and put it on the page.
Oh, don't worry. I'll send you some stuff and you can send it out.
Say some goodness.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That sounds good, y'all. Yes. And Abigail sends her blessings.
Hey, give us a takeaway that y'all got. Give us a takeaway that y'all got.
Oh, wow.
One takeaway.
Go ahead, Benicia. We've never been asked for a takeaway on a guest, right?
He got on his Dr. E hat.
Let's do it. No, I have so many. I'm, like I come off the podcast and I have to just sit in it. But one thing that a huge takeaway for me was the tears. Just really recognizing that we do all live on different tiers and being able to go back and really reevaluate what tier I'm on. And how healthy I am and what work I need to do. I think I love that idea of, and I think I'm very self-aware. So I do know the problem areas. I know the areas that I soar in, but I think the tier thing really did it for me. It really answered, some questions about some decisions that I need to make. And Coach Bond, from you, again, going back to what does really loving yourself look like? Like you said, you can do all the maintenance on the outside, but really, what does that look like? Taking that time to really reevaluate the things that you've gone through, not as a victim, but being observant and holding myself accountable.
Yeah. Awesome. For me, I have to say yes. The tears hit home. Something that hit me from the beginning that I couldn't wait for you to talk about, Dr. E, too, was the running into the pain. Because that timeline piece for me, as I go past certain numbers, and celebrate certain birthdays, the clock is ticking. Like the young woman who's like ready to have a kid, right? I'm like, Lord of mercy, time is ticking. And after the pandemic, that just brought it right here that time isn't promised. What are you going to do with that? How long are you going to sit in that puddle and not rise up? And, that's something that I talk about all the time is getting up. It's a decision to get up. So when you get up, then what do? You better run. Don't look around. Don't be confused. You just start running. Yeah. So that was so powerful to me because you have to go through these stages, like you said, Coach Vaughn, of identifying yourself, finding out, be aware of where the work needs to happen in order for you to be the best version of yourself and then get to stepping. So this was awesome on so many levels. So many levels.
Yay.
Yes. Thank you.
Teamwork, twirly boop.
Yeah.
I'll be twirling. I guess we can all twirl.
Y'all take care. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Yes. And we always say this, right? Thank you for your yes. So if you weren't willing to do the very things that you're now helping other people, navigate, then we wouldn't see more healthy people. That's what we desire. That's what this platform is all about, right? So how do we get healthy? The other thing I love is how you gave practical, right? We're all about spiritual. We know God is first. We know that he works in all of us. We know without him, we're nothing. But we also know that we have to have the practical things in order to work out the day to day. And so we want to say thank you. Sometimes we don't, right? So in order to get the purpose, you got to push through the pain. And so you guys had to go through, and still all of us are going through something to continue to evolve. I think you guys said it so beautifully earlier. It's a continual evolution, right? And so we want to say thank you. Because of you, there's so many other people that are healthy and whole. And in this day and age, in the midst of everything that we've experienced within the last year and a half, I think it's more important now than ever that we recognize that it starts here. Like we have to be healthy in our mind in order for our thoughts and our behaviors to follow suit. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Blessings to both of you.
Yes.
We'll talk to you soon. We're about to make you late for your 1:30.
Okay.
Take care.
All right, y'all. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, they were amazing, weren't they?
Honey, I'm going to have to hit the replay for Benicia, like, because I can't take notes while we're doing it, but I'm definitely going to revisit this.
It was so good. It was so good.
It was.
Yeah, just an awesome show. And thank you for all that you do. You're such an incredible co-host. I don't tell you enough.
Oh, I feel the same way. I do. Yeah. You know what? It's easy. It's not work, like they said.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like work when, I'm going to use their line. You know why it's so easy?
Why is it?
Because we're in the same tier. Come on!
Come on, girl. I love it. We on the same tier. Yes, ma'am. And we climbing higher.
Yes, we are.
Together. Yes, thank you guys so much for sitting with us.
Guys, share. Don't forget the share button. Do it now, y'all. If y'all like me, the same thing we used to say about people pray. Oh, I'm going to pray. Now I know when someone asks me, I stop and do it right then. So do us a favor and share right now. We appreciate you.
We appreciate all of you. Thank you for stepping up and stepping into our lives in this segment every Saturday. We couldn't do this you're the reason that we do this. So we learn every weekend. We learn something and we grow. And yes, Abigail, it's not by chance. We take our assignment real serious.
Yes, we do.
So we thank you guys. Please do share. We will see you next week. And yes, it's Turkey Week, but we have an extraordinary show coming at you with an extraordinary woman and 2 young adults that are phenomenal and doing some great things. And we want to do a shout out to what's going on with the youth today, because a lot of times they get a bad rap. And there's so many amazing things that they're doing to make this world a better place. So be sure to kick back with some leftovers on Saturday and join us, okay? We'll see you Thanksgiving weekend. Take it easy, y'all. Be good and be blessed.